Jurassic Park. Is it any wonder that nearly 3 decades later, this movie still inspires awe? It used groundbreaking technology that redefined how special effects would be used forever after, a magnificent soundtrack, bone-chilling sound effects, and an unforgettable cast of characters to interact with these monsters brought to life. Jurassic Park has earned its place in the pantheon of the greatest movies ever made. Few other movies have ever inspired such wonder, awe, and terror all at the same time. John Hammond said it best,
that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
As with anything that people loved during the 80s and 90s, Jurassic Park spawned countless forms of merchandising. The Kenner toys, Topps comic books, t-shirts, lunchboxes, and of course, video games. In fact, the creators were so confident that Jurassic Park was going to be a hit, the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo games were developed before many of the details were solidified in the movie, so were largely created using the storyboard art and the book as reference. It kind of explains why the games don't really follow the movie. Like, at all. Today we're going to take a look at the Super Nintendo version. It's the less loved of the two, but I think there's a lot to be said about it. The game isn't really imitating anything else at the time, and it has several unique mechanics to it. Also, though the art style is a little more cartoonish than the Sega Genesis one, it's clear that the developers were making better use of the power of the Super Nintendo to give the game a more polished look. So here we are. They drop us right below the iconic Jurassic Park sign, which is a nice touch. One of the first things you'll notice is that Grant looks really buff. Did they not have a single picture of Sam Neill to use for reference? Seriously, he looks like Schwarzenegger from the True Lies video game. To be fair though, they may have been using the book for reference, which describes Dr. Grant as a barrel-chested, bearded man of 40 in a Hawaiian shirt. Except without the beard. Or the Hawaiian shirt. You start the game armed with a zappy thing, which the game calls a cattle prod, that you use to operate some fences and zap the little compies. Don't try to use it on anything more dangerous though, they will mess you up. The weapon that you will use through most of the game is the rocket launcher. Though you can also pick up a shotgun or tranquilizer darts, the rocket launcher is the best one of the group. The shotgun takes 3 shots to kill a raptor, and while the tranq dart looks cool because it one-shots anything, raptors are only down for about 30 seconds, which is a serious problem indoors. The instruction manual says that if you shoot a T-Rex with the tranq dart, it'll slow it down enough for you to get away. For secondary weapons, your choices are gas canisters or explosive bolas. Gas canisters are kinda cool because they have a small area of effect, but just like the tranq darts, they only knock out raptors for about 30 seconds. Unlike tranq darts, however, they are useless against the T-Rex. The bola blows through anything it touches and kills the target dead, so stick to bolas and rockets. Also, the game seems incapable of counting past the number 4. If you have 4 lives and pick up a 5th, there's no way to represent it, so the game keeps track of it off screen. Similarly, each rocket represents 2 shots on the ammo counter. Pick up another set of rocket ammunition, you'll get another 8 shots. It doesn't track past the 4 rocket icons, but the game knows you have more ammo, and will only show you once you're back down to 6 shots left. It's a little weird, but it is easy to get used to. This game gives you no direction to begin with. You're at the gate, you walk through, and you shoot some compy things. Then, you walk through the forest and promptly get mauled by raptors. Okay, let's do this a little smarter. We explore around a little bit, and oh, look, there's a shotgun. And pump 3 rounds into one of these jerks. Then, we pick up a rocket launcher. Okay, now we're doing a bit better. Well, terrific. Now that we figured out what's going on by trial and error, the game is finally deigning to give us guidance. Maybe it was one of those survival of the fittest things. They need to make sure that we're competent enough to be worth helping before they actually offer advice. Well, let's see what we've got here. Dr. Sattler is saying that Packies are territorial. That probably means these guys are going to attack if we get too close. Tim tells me if you see a Triceratops, run like crazy. Okay, that was some good advice. Thanks, Tim. Now Nedry is telling me that raptors won't attack unless I shoot them. Wait, really? I didn't realize that. I just assumed they were the bad guys and fired first. That one that attacked Muldoon in the movie was just looking out for her sister. And Grant did shoot at the one in the control room. Heck, she was probably just going in to check her email. I guess I'm the bad guy here. Next time, I'm gonna keep it stowed. I've been tricked. Touch a fence for a free life? Oh, I see what's going on here. I've never been so happy to know that you're going to get devoured by a dinosaur. The music is kind of interesting, but I was always surprised that none of John Williams' famous score was used in the game. It's kind of like having an Indiana Jones game without the iconic theme song anywhere in it. When I was researching the development of this game, I found out that John Williams only started work on the score for the movie in February of 1993, a mere 4 months before it was released. The developers of this game were scrambling to improve the game's graphics after a disappointing reaction to the demo in June. As a consequence, they likely didn't have any time to rework the music for the game. Huh. Nice touch. I'm not sure if I should be offended by the egregious use of cross-marketing here, but it makes me think that this whole game is some kind of toy set. I mean, Kenner Toys were infamous for creating action figures that looked absolutely nothing like the characters they were supposed to resemble, like He-Man Luke Skywalker here. I guess working on the moisture farm really had Luke working on his upper body groups there. Seriously, you have a picture right there of Mark Hamill. But I digress. So, one of the big bottlenecks of the game is getting the right key card. You need to search every nook and cranny for them, both in the overworld and in the interior spaces. This can be particularly frustrating, as it requires a lot of backtracking to find them. The first key card that you need is John Hammond's. You know, the guy who owns Jurassic Park. And he decided to leave it right on the roof of the visitor center. While you think that having his keycard might unlock everything in the park, his keycard unlocks only one door as far as I can tell. Well, fine, maybe John Arnold made sure that Hammond couldn't get to the important stuff and mess around with things he shouldn't. Smart move. I mean, he leaves his security card on the roof of the visitor center. But then I get to a door that requires Ellie Sattler's card? Why was she the only one who can access the underground tunnel to the raptor pen? Isn't she just down here for a weekend? Ian Malcolm also has secure access? Doesn't John Hammond hate him? Alan Grant? Why wasn't he carrying his own keycard? Why is everyone leaving their keycards all over the island? Donald Gennaro? Oh, wait, I know how to find his! For that matter, the raptors and the Dilophosaurs don't seem to have any problems getting through the security doors. Do all the dinosaurs have complete access to everything? Yeah, that sounds about right. So, if you actually stick with the game, you'll start wondering, what am I supposed to do? First, you should find a PDF of the manual if you don't already have one, because the game is not very direct about what you're supposed to do. There are 6 specific objectives that you have to complete in order to win. First, you need to restore power by bumping into the generator in the Nublar utility shed. Then, you need to turn on the main power by getting to a computer in the visitor center, which you can only access using Nedry's card. Then, you need to find out how the raptors are getting into the visitor center. After that, you need to get aboard the ship on the east part of the island and destroy the raptors. Then, you need to nerve gas the raptor nest. Then, you need to radio for help from the communications room, and finally, you need to reach the helipad to leave. This is actually pretty deep and expansive for a game of its era. Though it does require a lot of backtracking, it feels like you're exploring the island and getting to know it better and better as you work through it. Most of these objectives, though, are in interior spaces, and we should take a good long look at how those play out. It's hard to escape some comparisons to Doom in these sections, but there are some important differences. First, the sections have serious graphical limitations. You see everything through these goggles that limit your peripheral vision badly, and enemies appear as brown or green smears if you're more than about 20 feet away from them. Which you kind of wonder if you appear the same way to them, because they will not attack you as long as you hang out at about that distance. The AI seems borderline brain dead, the way that they just do their thing as if they can't see you until you're close enough to brush their teeth. As a kid, I used to be terrified of these interior sections because the controls were wonky and the vision was so limited. I was always convinced there was a raptor sneaking up behind me. I was relieved when I could leave and go back to the overworld map. Now, I'm kind of the other way around. The overworld has scant resources, several instant death dinosaurs, and traps, and the dinos do way more damage here. Seriously, take a look at this. A raptor hits me outside and... ouch! I can't take too many more of those. A raptor hits me inside and... Wait, did that even hurt? I think my health is lower, but I'm not sure. The only thing you have to be careful about is wandering into an area that needs night vision goggles when you haven't picked up a battery in the building yet. You don't even get a chance to fight blind. Just a raptor sound and you're back to the entrance, sans one life. As a weird additional, Jurassic Park's interior section makes optional use of the SNES mouse. I can't say whether or not the mouse improves the experience because I don't actually own one, but I'd imagine that it would lend itself well to these sections, especially considering how choppy it plays with the controller. One thing I had to learn the hard way. I was playing on an analog Super NT, and I got about 2 hours deep into the game. Then, when I needed to open a fence, I hit select to switch weapons back to the cattle prod. Apparently, I hit select and up at the same time because it reset the system. There are no saves, no passwords, nothing to track your progress. I hadn't really given it much thought because the game has unlimited continues, so I kept plugging away at problems by trial and error. And because I was playing on my Super NT, there was no save state function like with my SNES Classic or Retro Freak. 2 hours down the drain. Well, I played through again after setting my reset hotkey to start, select, and up, figuring that would never happen by accident. Well, then I pressed select plus down, which opens the menu when I was trying to open a gate. I am still not familiar with my Super NT, so I just selected Run Cart, assuming that would exit the menu and get back to playing the cartridge. Instead, it rebooted the game. Son of a gun! To make matters worse, when you reset the Super NT, it doesn't save anything, so your hotkeys are also reset. An hour and a half later, I press select and up at the fence again. I'm getting real tired of the beginning of this game. So, in summary, what worked and what didn't? Well, on the good side, you have sharp graphics, a cool parallel between the overworld and the interior sections, an effective soundtrack, and responsive gameplay. Mostly. On the bad side, the interior sections are easy to get lost in. No songs from the original soundtrack is a little disappointing. Most of the weapons are useless, the backtracking is irritating, the difficulty curve can be frustrating, and there is no save or password system at all. The unlimited continues helps mitigate a few of these problems, however. Also, the lack of direction is a little annoying, but there are prompts telling you what you're supposed to be doing, which is more than most games of this era can boast. Overall, I would say I was happy with the purchase. It only ran me $10, and I had a system that could run it. A word of warning, however, the game does not play very well on an emulation box like a Retro Freak or something similar, because it uses some graphical techniques that don't really show up in other games. The transparent HUD, for example, looks like garbage on other systems, so I'd only recommend you play it on a classic SNES or an analog Super NT or something similar that runs the cartridge as opposed to just using the ROM. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click the like button. Also, let me know what you thought of the SNES Jurassic Park in the comments below. Thanks, and join us next time here on RetroTour.